Welcome to our podcast, Inspiring Living, with me, Mark Candelaria. I am an architect, blogger, traveler, chef, father, and husband. I am the founder and a partner of a fabulous 20-person architecture firm specializing in high-end residential architecture, designing amazing homes across the country and now the world. We have hosted tours over the last 22 years to Italy, Spain, Oregon, and soon France. And in the course of all this, I have met a lot of interesting people who truly inspire me. We are excited to now be in our third season, and our podcast is all about the opportunities that are right there in front of us to inspire living. Yes, we will talk about architecture and design, but every week we will venture into all sorts of topics that will inspire you, teach you, and motivate you to inspire living every day. My guests will include a wide gamut of amazing people, from those in the design industry to clients to real estate professionals, chefs, artists, sports figures, and philanthropists, and people who just flat out get it. Sit back and enjoy, and let's have some fun exploring all the opportunities that are there just waiting for us. Please subscribe and get ready to be inspired with every podcast. Okay, as my dad says, here we go. Thanks everyone for all the listens and downloads to our 2023 podcast, our third season with well over 100 podcasts now, and we have more in the works, including today's podcast featuring my lovely wife Isabel, her mother Alette Thompson, and our two besties, Anthony and Gicela Dulcich, who joined us on our journey through Scotland last month. We recorded this podcast on the last day of our 10-day visit to Edinburgh, Scotland, and the Scottish Highlands, not to mention the ancestral homes of Isabel's family going back to the 1300s, thanks to the research Isabel's mom has been doing. We went on this trip to celebrate Alette's 75th birthday, and what a trip it was. Listen in and get some good insights to the magic of Scotland that we discovered and enjoyed and are looking forward to sharing with you. Okay, Isabel and I had a fabulous escape to Southwest Colorado over the 4th of July and my hometown Durango, where we spent some wonderful time with my brother and his family, doing some hiking, fishing, and frankly, just enjoying the cool Colorado air. This coming weekend, my daughter Tiffany and I are off to Southern California, where we will be at another one of our book signings at Rogers Garden in Newport Beach, California. The event is next Sunday, July 23rd from 2 to 4 p.m. and is hosted by my good friend Renee D. of Iconic Magazine. So a big thank you, Renee, for putting this all together. I know it's a lot of work. And thanks to the folks at Rogers Garden. I hope all of you hiding out in Southern California can take some time to stop by. My design cookbook, Mark Candelaria Homes, is available in bookstores, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, and on our Candelaria Design website. 178 pages featuring 12 amazing Candelaria Design homes, accompanied by 12 of my favorite recipes. Please order your copy today, and if you can, write a review. Thanks for all the book purchases, texts, and messages from all of you. In terms of traveling and our Candelaria Design Tours, we have only one tour this year, and that is our Oregon Willamette Wine and Food Tour this August, which, by the way, is now completely sold out. We had our pre-tour cocktail party this past week, and what a fun group we have signed up and ready to go. We look forward to escaping the summer heat for the vineyards of Oregon, so stay tuned, as this will be our 23rd Candelaria Design Tour over the course of the last 23 years. We will be doing some live Instagrams, and who knows what else we might have cooking, but whatever it is going to be a total blast. Speaking of Iconic Magazine, check out my podcast on Iconic Hour with fellow architects Eric Peterson and CP Druitt as we talk architecture, design, and a whole host of things with host Renee D. The link is included in the episode notes, so check it out. I also want to thank Iconic Magazine for featuring a beautiful contemporary Candelaria Design and Berghoff Design home with lovely photography by Julianne Palmer McKay of Pearl Blossom Photography, and all past guests of my podcast, so check that out. Okay, it's 100 trillion degrees out here, so how about we take you back to Scotland? Okay, here we go. Okay, we are wrapping up our 9-day tour of Scotland, and we're sitting here in our little Airbnb with Alette Thompson, Gicela Dulcich, her husband Anthony, and my lovely wife Isabel, who put this whole trip together for us. Isabel, tell us how you put this trip together, and why did you put this together?
Well, I wanted to do something really special for my mom's 75th birthday. And so she had worked on our family tree and found out that we were Scottish. And we always thought that we were Irish And it turns out that we have a lot of Scottish blood in us. And so what I wanted to do is just put a trip together and bring her for her birthday.
So how long did you start putting this together?
I started working on it in January, and I think the idea came, last fall.
Yeah, because your mom's birthday's in January,
Mm-hmm.
January 8th. And so you started thinking about it last fall, and then you started putting it together. And then we have these two Dulcich people with us that kind of just that kind of tag along on our trips, and we've had so much fun. This is the first time you joined us, Anthony.
Yes, first time.
Gicela, you've been on how many of our tours before?
Oh, too many.
Too many. I can't remember.
You can't remember?
Maybe 3, 4, I don't know, 5 years.
It's been quite a few, right?
Yeah.
So how perfect it is that those two came with us on this trip, Isabel.
Yeah, because really Gicela is my mom's other daughter, right?
Just declared today.
Exactly. I just called her that.
There you go.
But it was
that's
already
how I feel
stated
about
before.
That's how I feel about her.
So we have the birthday mom here. Let's hear what did you think about our 9 days here in Scotland?
It couldn't have been more fantastic.
Right? This is your first. This is all of our first trip to Scotland.
Yes.
Right?
And it is a beautiful country,
Beautiful country.
lovely people,
Yeah.
and great food.
We did eat a little bit of food, you guys. Right?
It's a tiny bit.
And we started the whole tour with what? A food tour. I mean, how appropriate was that? Right? We went on a walking food tour through Edinburgh. And we're staying in Edinburgh, by the way. And how fun was our first introduction to Scotland with a little walking food tour?
That was so great. Petulia gave us the best tour of the city. It was so real, so authentic. I mean, we had venison chorizo.
Haggis. We had our first haggis.
Which we didn't know about that. Scottish eggs. We had a
Cheese.
picnic in her park, which was just fantastic. So she's with Context
Okay.
Food Tours. And so if anybody is interested in coming to Scotland and having a food tour, be sure you look up Petulia at Context Food Tours.
Yes, and we'll put all the links in the story notes. So if you want to check any of these things out that we talk about during the course of this, if you decide to come to Scotland, go into our story notes, and Tiffany will put all of the links in there for us. So, but that was a fun afternoon, and that kind of got us going.
And that was your idea, and that was kind of last minute.
Yeah. Well, I love food tours.
But it was a great call.
Yeah, we had a good time. We started walking around the city and started getting familiar with the city.
We went to a cheesemonger.
Went to a cheesemonger, and that was a lot of fun.
Fishmonger. I mean, we had the best.
The meat market.
We had the best smoked salmon
Yep.
you can ever expect to have in your entire life. It was delicious.
And you had shortbread, Alette,
I did have short.
and you liked that.
I did.
But I think you liked the strawberries the best.
The strawberries were my favorite.
You said
were
they're the best you've ever had.
The best I've ever had.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. So that was day one, was the food tour. Where did we eat that evening? Do you remember? I can't
don't
remember.
remember.
Do you remember, Alette? Well, I do remember
Oh,
where we had breakfast all the time.
Yes, that place was amazing.
So we'd walk.
The Turkish place.
We'd walk from here. It was about 20-minute walk maybe, into a little part of town.
Mm-hmm.
And it was your favorite breakfast place for sure, Anthony.
Yeah, that was
We went there,
Right.
4
Always good.
times?
Yep. How many times? You went at least 6 times.
Oh, at least.
And yeah, you like the Scottish breakfast, right?
Scottish breakfast is always good. Yeah, that's like a tradition.
Yeah.
Look forward to.
Yeah. So then we did the Scottish breakfast, and then
We met my friend Lori and her husband.
yeah. Tell us about
Alan.
Lori.
Well, Lori and I, we know each other from Pewaukee. I know her whole family. And she's lived here for years. And so, of course, I thought of her when we were coming here and reached out to see if she and her husband, Alan, who I met at New Mexico Tech, could come meet us. And they did. They met us for coffee. And I knew, obviously, Lori and her sister, Kathy, and Chris and Lisa from my Pewaukee High School days.
Did you know them, Alette?
I did.
You did, huh?
The Rosacker family
Yeah.
is great.
They're awesome,
They're
right?
all awesome. They
So
all
from-
have great talents and just super nice people.
So from New Mexico to Scotland, there was a whole connection, right?
Yeah, for Lori.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's pretty cool. So what was your favorite part of the whole trip, Alette? This was your trip. What was your favorite part?
Being with the four of you.
Oh, we didn't wear you out.
Well, I kept up.
You did keep up. And what did we say? We walked 83,000 steps, which was 30 miles.
33 miles.
33 miles in 9 days.
Yes.
That's pretty good, Alette. And I
think
saw you.
that's pretty good.
I saw you walking up the mountain with Ed holding your hand.
Well, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we watched the
Yeah.
train go by, the Hogsworth Express, right?
Right.
That was pretty cool.
That was really cool.
And what did you think as you were walking up that mountain?
It felt very much like the things that I used to do as a child.
Oh, that's
in
nice.
Colorado and New Mexico,
Yep,
climbing up the hills like that to see what we were going to see.
yeah. Which we saw the train
Yeah.
go by on this giant viaduct. What was it? The name of it? The
Glenfinnan.
Glenfinnan. There we go.
Yes.
The Glenfinnan Viaduct, right?
And then I had a really cool experience. I was taking a photo of a large tree, a very tall tree, as tall as the aqueduct.
Yep.
And I smelled sawdust.
Mm.
So it made me think of my dad immediately because he was in the lumber business.
There you go.
And I looked to my left, and there was a pile of fresh sawdust.
Hmm.
So it was a really special moment.
That's very neat. That was a beautiful day. And Ed, our driver, was amazing. What was his tour company? Isabel, do you remember?
It's Ed's Private Tours.
Ed's Private Tours. I mean, what the perfect
It
name?
doesn't get any more simple than that, and he was absolutely fantastic. So nice. He picked us up here at the Airbnb. We went directly up to the Highlands. We had another tour with him also to Dundee, Glom's Castle. And yeah, he was terrific.
So tell us about the castle, because that's kind of an interesting part of your whole story, right? It's what's it called again? The Glamis?
Glom's
Glom's Castle.
It's spelled Glamis.
Yes, yeah. That's
So you
why,
think it's Glamis.
that's
but
why I keep
guess
saying that.
Right.
We were corrected that it is actually
Glams.
pronounced Glams.
Glom's Castle. And why is Glom's Castle so important to you?
Well, it's important to us because way back in our family tree, Johanna Stewart, a daughter of Robert Stewart III, King Robert Stewart,
Mm-hmm.
married one of our
Ancestors.
And from there, they lived in that castle for a number of years, several centuries.
Yeah, this is back in the 1300s, I think. you
1300s.
said.
Originally, I think it was a hunting lodge at the time that our family would have been involved in it, right?
Yes.
Or that we know we've traced it back.
Right.
And you've only gone back until the 1300s so
True.
far. So now we know from what we've learned on this trip that we need to actually go back further.
Yes, we do.
Isn't that crazy?
There's more research to do because it kind of got more interesting, more in depth, and we don't want to say anything right now, but because we need to research it, but it's definitely really more intriguing now and even deeper than I think we thought it was going to be.
Yes.
Well, and there was all those stories about the ghosts in that castle, right?
I think that was just,
I think he was making the tour interesting.
yeah.
I didn't hear
I
or
think
see
they
anything.
do that I didn't feel any ghosts, and
I didn't
normally I'm
feel
pretty
any ghosts.
sensitive, so I would
Yeah.
know if there were ghosts around.
Yeah.
And the gardens there were just
Remember the Italian gardens? How beautiful
Yes.
that was?
Yes.
That was gorgeous.
Yes.
So, Gicela, what was your favorite part of this whole trip? Do you remember? Do you remember anything about this trip?
I don't remember. I just try not to remember. Everything was beautiful.
We had a good time, didn't we?
Yeah, all the time.
I mean, we always have fun when we travel
always
together.
have fun. Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
So you were on our first trip in 2012, when we went on one of our first Italy tours after we reconvened them after 2010.
Yes.
You and Isabel were on the first tour together.
Absolutely.
That was both of your first tour with me
Yes.
Before we were even married.
before we were married. It was
Yeah.
the year before we were married.
That's
Mhm.
right.
Yep.
2012.
Yeah. Luckily, my husband let me go.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And you've been on like 4 or 5 since then.
Something like like that.
And you've met a lot of people on our trips, right?
Oh, I still keep in touch.
And
with
you
them.
say that's the best part of our trips.
Absolutely, absolutely. I just love the friendship, and
Yep.
we still hang out together after all these years. And I think I don't know. I just cherish that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I was really happy that you brought your husband this time
Right.
because I had a Scotch whiskey brother.
Well, we had more than one Scotch whiskey.
we had a few, didn't we?
We had a few, but
Yeah.
those were very good.
They were very good, and we ate pretty well on this trip.
Oh, terribly.
So, what was your favorite restaurant of all the restaurants?
Well, maybe you should ask my husband that because he thinks about food all the time.
That's it's hard. It's hard to pick because we were wherever we went, the service was excellent. The selection of food was excellent. It's
Yeah. We never did get a bad meal. I mean,
No,
we never
there
walked
wasn't.
out of a place going, "Boy, that food was horrible." I mean, when you think of Scotland, you don't think of great food.
right.
But I tell you what, it was off the charts, right, Alette?
Mhm.
Exactly.
Very good.
I mean,
Yeah, I was told that it would be fried food,
Yeah.
fish and chips.
and we had our share.
And I did have my share
Right.
of fish and chips, but I also had some very exotic food, like the octopus salad
at Tipo. Remember how good that place was?
It was excellent.
Yeah, that was their second. That was their kind of their baby sister restaurant.
Yes.
Their other restaurant, I forget the name of it now, but we'll put it in the notes. It's a Michelin star restaurant, and this is the brothers' restaurant, and it was off the charts. I mean, that octopus salad was great. I'm trying to remember the other thing that we had. Everything we had was the mousse, the liver pate mousse.
Oh,
That was insane.
Yes.
Yeah, everything was good, and we had our share of desserts too. We never missed out on desserts. No,
always
we
had
tried.
something.
We did a dessert at every restaurant, and those were amazing everywhere we went. So back to our tour, we went to Glamis, and we went to St. Andrews. We went to St. Andrews twice because we missed the little bridge crossing the first time, and then
Right. So Ed took us back.
Ed
He
took
felt
us
so
back.
bad for us that we missed it on the one tour.
yeah,
So he took us back there.
that was fun.
That was a really neat place to be, to like think of where Tom Lehman was winning the British Open
Yeah.
and seeing all those pictures at the
That little
pub
pub.
we were at. I mean, it's really cool to
I mean,
be
you
there.
feel the history there, don't you?
Mhm.
Of golf. I mean, it just reeks golf in that whole village.
It
And you
does.
saw we saw the ancient ruins
The ancient ruins.
of St. Andrews. That was
right.
beautiful.
My favorite place there was St. Mary's College
That's right. That courtryard. Remember that,
The
Gicela? You
courtyard,
love that courtyard.
with the huge tree that supposedly Mary Queen of Scott planted.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah,
That thing was gigantic.
it was big.
Yeah. And the stories that they told us along the way of executions and chopping people's heads off and missing with the axe and
Well, in castles, just as you're driving by, where they were held hostage or forced to sign certain documents, or
Right.
I mean, it's
So
just
much
the
history.
history is incredible
yeah,
here.
it's everywhere too.
Yes.
And Edinburgh is such a fun city. We walked. I mean, you heard how many miles we walked, but we walked everywhere,
Yes.
and the architecture is just insane wherever we go. I mean, I don't know how many pictures I took, but I took a ton. And Scotland just was not on my radar at all ever until this trip, until you put it together, and I would come back in a heartbeat.
I've really enjoyed it. I'm glad I got to do this for you, Mom.
It was the most wonderful trip you could have ever done. For
So would
me.
you come back
Absolutely.
if we twisted your arm and said, "Let's go back again"? You'd go.
Sure.
Yeah. And our Airbnb was really nice, right?
The Airbnb is great. We ended today also at the Botanical Gardens, which was fabulous. So peaceful. I think that's what is so nice about the lifestyle here is they spend a lot of time outside, even though it's kind of cold and
Like the park was completely packed.
yeah.
When we
the
just came home
park is
tonight,
full.
there are
Everyone's
people-
playing soccer.
it was
rugby.
crazy. We don't do that in America. You drive by a park and it's
Oh,
completely empty.
Completely empty. So I do think there's something to be said for spending a lot of time outside.
And we had perfect weather for everyone we talked to. It didn't rain once. It was in the 60s during the day and 40s at night, which was cold to us. For June, it didn't. It felt more like maybe February to me. Here,
Yes, me
didn't it?
too.
Yeah, I'd hate to be here in February.
I don't think I want.
No,
A little cool.
But the locals are acclimated.
well, they're
I mean,
acclimated
you
for
know,
sure. I mean, there are people
we
walking
were
around in
not.
shorts, and at the park they were in shorts. I had a scarf and a vest and a coat on. I mean,
There were times I was wearing 2 coats during this trip. So, but what a wonderful experience. And I'm so glad you guys all got to come with us.
yeah.
It was
Another
fun to
thing that
share
was
it with
fun, I
you.
just remember, was the Dalwhinnie Distillery. That was pretty cool. I thought that was a neat
Yeah,
experience.
you and Anthony
Very
loved that.
Yeah,
I
that was
think
a
that
great
was one
tour.
of your favorite parts of the tour.
Yeah, and we bought a bottle with us, so we'll have a little whiskey when we get home. That was a lot of fun. That was on the same day we did the train, and we drove how many miles that day in the Scottish Highlands?
320.
320 in one day.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like 12-hour tour, wasn't it?
Yes, and we saw everything, like the Harry Coos, the train,
Yeah,
the big lakes.
yeah. It was beautiful.
It was so beautiful, and
We even saw a Scottish wedding.
we saw a Scottish
Mhm.
wedding, and the bagpipes.
Yes.
People playing bagpipes.
Oh, remember that out in the
out
on
in
the wilderness?
field, yeah.
That was beautiful.
And here in Edinburgh too.
Right.
Edinburgh too.
None of us were brave enough to drive, though.
No. As we left the airport, Isabel said, "Well, when we got to the first roundabout, that would have been a 19-car pileup."
Oh my God! I mean, every time I try to cross the street, I can't tell which way the cars are coming. It's like if I was driving, same thing. It would have been a nightmare.
I think it's designer brain. There is some way that our brain cannot go back and forth from side to side.
Would you drive
properly.
in? Would you drive
So-
Anthony here?
If it was out in the Highlands somewhere, yeah, I would.
Yeah,
drive. You
but
gotta
in
start
city-
small out there. No, not in the city.
Yeah.
No way.
I mean, getting a roundabout, that's it. It'd be over. I would like, okay, do I
Done.
turn here? Do I turn this way?
Yeah.
It's so confusing.
And you have to be really careful crossing the street. You have
Just
to
walking.
Be sure you look just all the directions because
Right.
They come out of nowhere. Yeah, no, that's another thing
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
Gicela and I had that experience. We looked in the direction that we would always look, and then when we started to cross the street, the car was there from the opposite direction.
From the opposite direction. So, and you guys you did a little shopping, right?
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too much. Gisela,
Not
you
too
did some
bad.
shopping today. No? No? I thought you carried some bags. You had some shopping done. Nope, I guess not. Okay.
Well, the one I saw with bags was Mark.
Yes.
He went shopping.
I did a little shopping today, and I got my card so I can order my kilt. So I got all the information, so when I get home, I can get my kilt ordered. What do you think about
I
that,
look
Isabel?
forward to seeing you in that.
I bet you do.
We all
I think
do.
I think you're gonna be one of 2 people in Arizona that have a kilt.
That could be. That could be. I remember my good friend Bruce Kimball, bless his heart. He always wore a kilt to little parties and stuff. So I'll have to carry that tradition on for Bruce Kimball
In honor of my family. I
in honor
guess.
of your family.
You'll
I
have to-
definitely feel the Scottish
You'll have
vibe
to
from
get
you guys.
the Stuart plaid.
There you go. Yeah, well, you have to help me pick everything out.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely do
I'll
that.
put it together for you. No problem.
Yep. So if you came back again, what would you do? What would you do different, Alette?
I think I would spend more time in the Highlands,
You like the Highlands?
just because it was so peaceful and
Yeah.
so beautiful.
I mean, the city's nice, but
the city's nice.
it is beautiful out there.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
we
so
talked about like
beautiful.
staying in one of those little villages
Mm-hmm.
and just hanging out there.
Exactly. Just
Right?
Just keeping it simple, bicycles. Or
I think that'd be a
something
good mix, like maybe 3 or 4 days here in the city, and then maybe 4 or 5 days in the country, and a little bed
I
and
agree.
breakfast, right?
I loved it in the Highlands. It was so peaceful and just the vastness and the richness of the land. It was just.
And we saw the little Highland cows. What were they
Yeah,
called?
They're so cute.
Harry Coos.
Harry coos. We saw the Harry coos. Yes, that was fun. What else?
The thing that I really liked about every place we've been is the feeling of permanent. The buildings are so old
Oh, yeah.
and so strong compared to how it is back in Arizona.
with the styrofoam houses we live in.
Yeah.
But everything it feels so solid
Feels so permanent.
and permanent.
Yeah.
And the history is just there, and you feel it.
Yeah, everywhere you go.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm impressed with the Scottish people in general. I mean, just remember some of our waitresses, how fun they were,
Yes.
and just their personality and their voices, and it's just I don't know, it's just
taxi
And
drivers. too.
yeah,
So
everyone
nice,
was so
like
friendly.
willing to go overboard to make sure you have what you need, and
Yeah.
just really impressed with the kindness of the people here.
But they're a hardy people. I mean, this is not an easy place to live. I don't think
so.
No, I mean they're tough.
They're tough.
But they're tough in a real friendly, kind way. I mean, like our guy who owns the Airbnb here, what a cool guy he is.
yeah.
I mean, just we talk to him every morning, and he'd have some little story to tell us about his hunting expeditions, and but just so friendly, right?
Right.
So I love that. But-
And we're here because of my birthday.
Yes,
And one of the things that I noticed, because I'm of that age group,
yeah,
there were many very elderly people walking,
Everywhere.
carrying their shopping cart behind them to the store. They weren't relying on hopping in the car to drive 2 blocks.
Right.
They were walking.
yeah.
And I was very impressed with that.
That's kind of
the
Europe in general.
vibrancy of the elderly here.
Yeah. And what I love about Europe always too is you see the elderly and the young all out together.
Yes.
And they're walking, they're having fun, they're eating, and it's just you don't see that in America like you do here.
No.
People aren't walking down Camelback Road to go have dinner.
No.
It just doesn't happen. We're just such an
It's too
urban.
busy.
It's too busy. And it's too spread out and too big.
Yeah.
So that's what I always love when we come here. It's just, I don't know. It's just a different pace of life, and it's just a lot more fun.
Right.
It's a lot of fun.
This is much. Everybody's been to London. It's extremely busy down there, and to come up here just a little ways, it's like
It's like night and day.
an hour flight, right?
Yeah.
There's a downtown, but it's a little bit slower. Much more a different vibe up here.
Right.
It makes it worth coming back.
Yeah. This does remind me a lot of Ireland. I've been to Ireland before, and this does feel a lot more like Ireland because London is in itself its own animal. It's
Right.
its own deal totally. And I love getting to these smaller cities. I mean, it's a 500,000 they said is Edinburgh.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems even smaller than that to me. But I mean, it is pretty big when you look around. When you're up at the castle and look at the whole city,
Mhm.
it looks pretty big. I mean, but it's dense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everyone lives in these flats, and they live pretty much on top of each other.
But
So-
it's that city, and then what is it? 10, 15 minutes max. You're
Yeah,
out.
you're in the country
You're in the
immediately.
It's green.
Yeah.
and to the left and to the right, it's everywhere. It's
Yep.
green.
Yeah.
So quite a birthday.
It was really, I can't even describe how wonderful it was. And I can't thank Isabel enough for this experience.
I'm glad we got to do this, all of us together.
It was really nice
Isn't
to
it
be
fun?
with all of you.
Not to
And
be alone. Yeah, it was a good trip.
just,
Very good trip.
I think we all learned a lot and were inspired. I mean, it's so beautiful, all the flowers, and I don't know, just how green it was. And
Yeah, our morning
a
walks
really
were
good
really
trip.
nice.
our morning walks to breakfast were just really
Right.
fun.
You don't do that in America.
No, and last night we walked to dinner
Yeah,
and back
yeah,
well, we're
and
also on
back.
vacation.
and back.
No, I know, but still, I was like, we don't even walk to go to Wally's.
No, I know. We drive it silly.
We
it's
still hop in the car and drive 100 yards to go to Wally's.
There have been times we walk.
I know, but
Not very often.
Not
but
very
yeah.
often.
Well, I would do the same thing if it was 100 degrees outside.
Yeah, that's true. It's a little warm. But that's the thing I love. It's just, and I think when you walk, you notice things much differently.
Well, you're seeing them at a slower pace.
Right.
Last evening when we were walking back, there were all these pretty little flowers growing in the cracks of the gate.
Yeah.
And so
You'd never
I
see that.
stopped and took pictures.
Right.
And in Arizona, I'm zooming down the road trying to avoid all the other crazy drivers.
Right.
You're not taking pictures of the flowers in the cracks in the freeway.
No.
No.
And so it's a whole different pace.
Right. Well, and the other thing that you make me think of, and we talked about this morning, is just how, even though all 5 of us were on this trip to Scotland, we all had very uniquely different trips. I look at your pictures and I look at Gicela's pictures and Isabel's pictures and I'm like, where did you see that? And I didn't see this. And we're in the same basic spot, but we're all seeing something a little bit different.
Yes.
And that's what I think is what I love about travel, is it awakens all of your senses. I mean, obviously it awakened our taste buds, because we definitely used those quite a bit on this trip.
Very much so.
But we also were, our vision, our smell, our sight, taste, everything is awoken on these trips.
Right.
And that's what I love. It's like you go through life and you're kind of a walking zombie most of the time. You're doing the same thing over and over, and you're really not fully engaged. Where on this trip, you're trying to soak it all in.
Right.
And I just love looking at your pictures, because it's like, wow, that's just what you saw, and what you took notice of is just so different from what I took notice of. And we take a similar picture, but it was just from a different vantage point. And I think it's just such a good metaphor for life.
Right.
We're all going through life in kind of the same way, but it's just so different.
Yeah.
Right?
One of my favorite moments was when we went to St. Andrew's Chapel, that is pretty well, it's not very sturdy anymore.
Yeah.
But walking behind it and then having that sea
Air.
smell
Yeah.
just sort of come over us, and the birds are calling, and you could hear the waves, and it was a very special moment.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite photos was there because there was only one red poppy.
Oh, I took a picture of that red poppy. I know which
I
one you're
think
talking
all
about.
of us did because it really it stood out.
Yeah,
so much.
I remember
just
it.
that one red poppy.
Yep.
And so that was a special moment for me.
Right. And I think as I was walking along that coastline, it reminded me of, or it made me think of, this is real similar to how it was 500 years ago.
Right.
Someone walking along that coastline would virtually have the same experience.
Yes.
And there was moments throughout the whole trip where I felt like I was back in time. And I thought,
I had that same
Right?
experience.
I think that's what it's so cool about coming here is, and we talk about it, it's like, is your DNA seeing this? And it's like, my soul has been here before, or something has seen this before, and it's resonating from my soul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
What do you think, Iz?
I think it could be that. It could also be just being so close to nature.
Just wakes you up.
Well, there's just more. I mean, we went through a lot of kind of just farmland and empty space where, there were just fields and grass and those beautiful yellow shrubs that were blooming
Everywhere.
all over the hillside. And so, I mean, yeah, it could be something. I'm definitely in our DNA, but also just being in such beautiful, vast, open spaces of nature.
So we go to Italy all the time. In comparison to Italy, how does Scotland impact you? In comparison to our trips to Italy.
Well, I mean, I love Italy because it's so robust. And I would say Scotland is also robust, but it's probably more low key. It's like a silent strong, whereas Italy is more expressive.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's true.
Yeah.
So we wrap it up, pack up, and head back to Arizona and California. Anthony and Gicela live in Los Angeles, and
So maybe our next trip will be Croatia.
we've been talking about Croatia for a long,
gotta
long
do it.
time. And Anthony, that's where your ancestors from, right?
Yes.
From Croatia, and you guys have been there,
Yes,
so you'd have to be our guides
absolutely.
and put it together, and we would just follow along.
Of course, we'll hook up with Anthony's cousin
That would be fun.
and see what we could do.
Well, I know there's a whole group of my past travelers that want to do Croatia trip. I know the Stockets bring it up every single time.
Mhm.
So we'd have to maybe sit down and plan that one out. That'd be a lot of fun, right?
Let's do it.
We'll do a Croatia to Scotland comparison trip, right?
Let's do it.
That'd be fun. So off we go tomorrow. We leave early. We leave what? We have to leave the house here about 6:30 a.m. Fly to London. From London to Dallas. Dallas back to Phoenix. You guys fly from London right to L.A.
No, London to Munich.
Oh, to Munich.
No, I'm just kidding.
No,
Oh,
she
yeah.
wanted-
Yeah,
she
you've
wanted to go
been
to
wanting to
Munich.
go to Munich. You got me on that one. Yeah, I still think you guys might do it.
Yeah,
No, you're heading back to L.A., right?
Well, I still want to.
we will get there. We will
Okay.
definitely get there. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're-
Ooh, you promised her on the podcast.
There you go. It's on there.
I thought
You have a
Thank
record.
you to
I
Munich,
know.
okay?
Yeah. No,
It's there.
We talked about Croatia. We talked about Australia, New Zealand. I
Yep.
think you and Gicela and I have been to South America. You guys just came from there.
Yeah,
Mark,
we were in
right?
Peru last year this time.
So, yeah, there's some places to see.
It's pretty endless, isn't it? I mean,
It is.
Scotland alone could be endless. I mean, we just saw a little smidgen of it, and I want to come back and see a lot more. Don't you?
I do too. I think Mom needs to get after the family tree and go a little bit deeper
There you go.
and see what she finds.
So you'd come with us again, right, Alette?
Sure.
Yeah? You're ready.
If I can walk 33 miles this time, I can do it again.
You can do it again.
Yeah.
So how did you prepare for this trip, by the way? I think that's pretty cool. Tell the listeners what you did.
Well, I was having knees that kind of hurt. So I went to my doctor and convinced him that I really needed to do physical therapy. And so I had already been walking. I walk every day anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept that up. And I went to physical therapy for, 6 weeks or so. And they gave me exercises that I did every day at home. And I also did chair yoga.
Now, what's chair yoga?
Well, it's yoga, but you just sit in a chair or stand by a chair and do
Stretches?
and move. You literally move every part of your body, head to toe.
And how
fingers
long
and
do you
toes.
do that when you do chair yoga? It's like,
Between 15 and 30 minutes.
so not a lot of time.
Not a lot
But
of
you just
time.
got to do it every day.
But I was very consistent in
Mhm.
doing it every day, and compared to some past times when I would have had trouble making it up 123 stairs, I did it.
Yeah.
And
Up a
I-
mountain.
up a mountain, and I drug behind some, but a lot of that was distraction because I was taking photos.
You and
It
I were
wasn't all
usually at
because
the
I
at the
was
end.
Just, at the I sometimes almost always I was at the end.
Yeah. But
But it wasn't all due to any
keeping up. You were just
keeping
taking
up.
You were
I
just
was
getting
just
distracted.
Yeah.
It was easy to do.
Yeah.
You and I were both usually at the tail end,
Yeah.
taking lots of pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that
We're
was a lot of
alike
fun.
in that way.
Well, you did a good job. I mean, I don't ever remember thinking, your mom's taking forever. I mean, you were right there with us everywhere.
Well,
So
thank
you did great. And it was really fun to spend 9 days with all of you, but in particular to spend some time just one-on-one with you
Thank
was
you.
great. So
Thank you. I can't thank all of you enough for everything that you did.
we're a good little travel group together.
Buying me chocolate dessert that's so decadent. I'm still salivating.
We had some good
We had
food.
some
I don't-
really good food.
Oh my
really
God.
good food.
Yeah, unbelievable. So yeah,
And we had lots of just silly laughs, just that laughter that comes from deep inside that just makes you feel good all over.
yeah.
I really like that. I like seeing my daughter relax enough to just have fun and not be so focused on work. And you too.
Yeah. I got a little work in here and there, but overall I
we
took it
worked.
easy.
But we did good.
Yeah.
But
Did
So
relax.
it was
Feel
nice to
rejuvenated.
Yeah.
spend time with you in a more relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah. Situation.
But it was fantastic, and like I say, I don't have words
Yeah.
for how grateful I am for this opportunity.
Oh,
It was
it was awesome. And
was
loved
awesome.
traveling with the two of you, Anthony and Gicela. So
Very
much fun.
So, very much so. Had a very good time.
I look
Very
forward
good
to.
time.
I'm looking forward to the 5 of us doing this again real soon. To be honest with you, because I can't think of a better group that it just was so easy.
We were easy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very
Yeah.
easy. So off we go tomorrow. You guys ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready to see the cats,
You ready to see the cats?
the boys.
Yeah. Ready? I'm ready to warm up. Be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice here, but I love the heat. I'm sure it's
Time to take the chill out a little bit.
yeah. Need to thaw out a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, great trip. I hope we get to do it again. And thanks all of you for being a part of this and being part of this podcast and the memories that we all shared. And I look forward to our next journey, whenever
Thank
that may
you,
be.
Mark.
Okay.
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Mark.
you, Mark. You're the best.
Thank you, Isabel, for putting this entire trip together. And thanks to Anthony and Gicela for joining us. And again, happy birthday, Alette. You did great. And frankly, most of the time, we were keeping up with you. I look forward to our next journey with all of us together. Okay, we have some great podcasts coming to you in the weeks and months ahead, so stay tuned. We're excited to head out to Southern California for our book signing next Sunday, and of course, some cooler weather, so we hope to see you out there. Thanks for your continued listening. Thank you also for the ratings and reviews. Please give us a rating and a review, as it really helps promote our podcast. Let me know that you did, and you might just get a signed copy of my book. We do our best to inspire living in everything we do, from our podcast to our cooking classes, our book, our homes, and our tours. Okay, have a great week, everyone. Stay safe, try and stay cool, and let's all live our lives with love, compassion, grace, and positivity. Thanks for the listen, and we look forward to connecting again real soon. Because Inspiring Living is all about the people and the organizations that inspire us, we are excited to have Monogram Appliances as one of our sponsors. Anytime we do a new kitchen or a kitchen remodel, Monogram Appliances are what we recommend to our client. Their appliances are the definition of luxury, meticulously detailed using the finest materials and an ownership experience that is second to none. This is how Monogram is always thinking ahead and inspiring and elevating the kitchen experience. Because at Monogram, they don't just elevate one thing, they elevate everything. I want to say a big thank you to my good friends at Stockett Tile and Granite Company, where your project is our priority. I want to thank the Stockett team, along with so many others who contributed to the success of our fabulous demonstration kitchen in our new Candelaria Design office expansion. You will have to check out online our video cooking classes, and our kitchen is amazing. I've had the pleasure of working with the Stockett team for nearly 40 years on many spectacular projects, and trust me, they are the epitome of excellence when it comes to tile, marble, and granite work, bar none. Their skill and customer service is impeccable, and the bottom line is they are just good people. I have traveled with and dined with and just had good times, both personally and professionally, with Dave Stockett and his lovely wife, Becky, and they are the best. When it comes to your next tile and stone project, make sure Stockett Tile and Granite is a part of your team. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed our podcast. We encourage you to write a review, screenshot it, and share it with your friends. Please instant message it to me and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We thank you for listening, and we look forward to sharing more insights to inspiring living next week.